Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
there. Oh,
Yay.
I was like, am I doing it right?
It says connecting.
Cool.
Yeah.
I
So
don't have,
you want us to introduce ourselves or just yeah, go
I
ahead. You go
I
ahead.
apologize if you could hear that. I accidentally turned a video on. No,
I don't hear anything
I
but rails.
muted it. Okay. Well, you already know me. I'm Andrea. Who's
This is my twin sister Andrea. Well, you can't see her, you can hear her. And this is me, Angela, a little crazy sometimes, and we're two twin flames here to serve you. Go ahead. This is fun, baby girl. I mean, twin sister.
I
We
didn't know you
definitely.
were going to do that whole intro.
Oh, I'm so sorry. They're gonna think yeah, people like you to be natural though. This will make a smile and raise the vibration.
It's fine.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
that's
I
really
love you.
cool. I love you too.
We love all the twin flames out there. We're here for you and we'll accept you just as you are.
That's right.
Unconditional love.
Well, as you know, I did part one of the fear where I talked about like my childhood and being afraid of different things. And well, you haven't heard it yet, but I talked so long that I had to say that I was going to do part two, and I got busy and I didn't do it right away. And then I thought, I'll see if Angela wants to do a Zoom conference call on part two with me to talk about fear and specifically fear as from a twin flame perspective. Okay. But it's also not from a twin flame perspective because it's about our lives, But I kind of went into all the negative thinking and the grooves in the brain that get you to think bad things about yourself and that sort of thing. And then I just talked about all these different ways I tried to overcome fear as a kid. I'd follow my brother around because my brother, he always seemed super brave to me because he did whatever he wanted, and he was always like jumping his bike off of ridges. And anyway, I used to follow him around, but I used to annoy him also. He thought I was annoying. But sometimes I would overcome fear by letting other people talk me into doing things. And then I'd be like, oh, wow, I rode my skateboard all the way down the hill and I wrecked, but I'm okay, But I didn't get to the part yet. I mostly just went over like my childhood and what it was like being afraid, and just talked about some different things. And I wondered if you wanted to say anything about if you had fears that you didn't know where they came from when you were a kid, that now that you're older, you kind of see that it had something to do with you being a twin flame or spirituality. And I don't know.
Well, I didn't know anything about twin flames until 2011, but
right.
The fear thing, when I was growing up, it seemed like every time, actually it might have been dark. I think a lot of it was dark energies, but I wasn't aware of it. I mean, I was aware of some of it, but not from a twin flame perspective.
Right.
But it seemed like something was always there to steal something, interfere with it, and I knew it wasn't anything that I was purposely doing. There was a dark energy. I would get so close, to say a money breakthrough, or just about the time I think I'm going to make it, get ahead. There's something I always come in and steal it away. And another thing, after you get so used to living in a fear mode, you start to expect it, fear, because that's all you know, and to you that becomes normal when it's really not.
Right.
You have to use in the twin flame. I listened to somebody on YouTube today, and he said your love has to be stronger than your fear. You got to just accept your twin just like they are, and tell them to come on just like they are. and
Yeah.
receive them and don't judge them. But fear is one of my biggest things to overcome. And for some reason, today I feel so much better. I did a meditation, and Andrea knows about it, and it helped me. And she does great energy work up in the 5D. She can tell you all kinds of stories, but that'd be another show. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I give the floor back to you.
that'd be a long time. Yeah, I know. I remember when I was listening to Jill and Ramey and from Twin Flame Healers, when Ramey was talking about when he was a kid, he used to always be scared that there were like cows and bears and stuff under his bed. And now that he's older, he knows that that was like dark energies that he was picking up on, you know, from his sensitivities and stuff. And I remember that, like, I used to always think there was something under my bed, and I used to always sleep with the cover up over my head and stuff because I was afraid. And I would see shapes and shadows, and I lived in a lot of fear even back then. But now that I know a lot more, I know that that was a lot of dark energies. Also, those are normal kid fears, I think, when you see like the shadow of the tree in your room or something. But the fears I'm talking about, that we're talking about, are more like the fears in your brain of like fear of not being loved, that sort of thing also.
Yep. It's people not accepting you and things like that.
Right.
And you feel like you have, not now, but then, and not being able to tell people no. And me and Andrea have come a long ways. We have grown since we met, what was it, on Twitter last Sunday in July, I believe it was.
It was like July 24th.
Grown. I mean, it's just crazy. And I went to stay with her. It felt like I was living with her. I guess she's really get me back home. Just kidding. But anyway, me and her have grown so much. I mean, it has been so accelerated, and it's so real. It's like we're blood sisters, kind of like.
I miss you.
We're born in the same year, and both our names start with A. Angela and Andrea. It sounds like twins.
Oh, I listened to this very interesting video that was talking about the origins of, you know, well, it was talking about like Anunnaki, and, you know, because now a lot of the ETs that are negative that mess with people are Anunnaki, right? But they were talking about, there's some interesting videos about the origins of all of that, and how the god, I guess it's, maybe it's pronounced Anunnaki, I don't know. Anyway, they were talking about how a lot of words have the A-N in them, which is part of the name. So every time you say that name, the word with that sound in it, it reinforces the energy towards that, or reinforces that energy. Okay, that is, I'm totally getting off subject. That's a totally different.
That's okay. That's all right.
I just thought it was interesting. I'm sorry, that's off subject. I'm like one of those kids that gets the teacher off subject in class, and all the other kids are like, we were supposed to talk about history. Or start talking about the trees or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, you can go check that out if it sounds interesting. But I wanted to do fear because I was thinking about all the scary things that happened to me my whole life, you know, and how I got to be like, by the time I was like 19 or 20, I got to be really proficient at trying to look for things that scared me and avoid them, you know. Or the only time I didn't do that was when I was drinking, and I've been drinking and doing things like that. I was talking about that in part 1, where at a very young age I hung out with people who, they would give me beer, or they would hang out with drugs and things, you know, because those people accepted me. And I was talking about the fear of wanting to be cool. That's a fear. Fear of fitting in. People, you know, fear of rejection.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I would hang out with people who, you know, we were all basically maybe we would be considered losers to some people, you know, but we all liked each other because we all accepted each other with our loseriness or whatever. That wasn't loseriness now that I know that, but, you know, our offbeat ways, let's say. And so we're ragtag, I guess, would be maybe a Southern way to say it. Ragtag group. But yeah, I was talking about how at a young age I had already been drinking and all that before I was even 21, doing drugs and stuff. Because when you're stoned, you're not sitting there thinking about all the things that are wrong with you, or you're in an altered state, right, and all of that. So it temporarily breaks you free of your normal mind restraints.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, you come back and it's worse than ever. Even if you temporarily are relieved of it, you come back and then you feel worse than ever, and then you've done this bad stuff to your body too, and so you feel even worse. And I could see why people don't want to be sober, you know what I mean? But I was just thinking about that, like how all the ways that I tried to overcome my fears or my bad thinking and stuff like that. And I tried so many different things, and a lot of things always worked temporarily. But really, till I started doing the clearings and stuff, that I still have it, like how you were saying, like that negative thinking will still come back. Like even after all this time, like look how long I've been on the twin flame path, like technically according to people who do a timeline for twin flames or whatever, since 1988. When I first met my twin. Okay. So
she got to meet him in person. Lucky her.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way. That's
pretty cool.
That's how I figured it out. I wouldn't have probably figured it out had that not happened.
Tell them about how you. I know this is not happening. This the fear, but how that the divine orchestrated you being able to be there, and how you won the contest, and that's how you got to go see him, I think. And you mentioned something about a friend or something. Boyfriend, girlfriend, or something. I can't remember.
I think I'll do that on some other on a separate deal, because it's like too much information to squeeze in real quick. You know, maybe if people are interested in hearing about. I think people are always. I think twins are always interested in hearing other twin stories about how they figured out the person was their twin. You know. Or what happened when they met them, or that sort of thing. But I've mentioned before that when I met him, I burst into golden light or whatever, but that's not all the details of how I got there and stuff, of course. But
you did have a lot of fear, though, remember, because you wouldn't go up to other women, there's a lot of fear there, kind of.
Oh, yeah. When that happened to me, I remember my ego was out of control, and my ego was like, no. I even heard that in my head, no. And I don't know if that was me saying that, or if it was like dark energies going, no. We're trying to keep you guys away from each other,
Exactly.
Which very well could have been, because they definitely had a ongoing little commentary in my head, like every time I'd feel good about myself, then here comes the bad thought. Here comes out of nowhere, like, well, people don't like you. You're not, oh, sure, you still are bad at this and that and that and that and that and that and that, listing all the things that I had insecurities about. And I remember I would be like, why can't I stop my brain? Why can't I stop my brain from saying these things? Because the minute I would feel good, or I'd trip and fall in front of everyone or something.
There's a good
and I would be like, why did I fall down? I was just walking. You know?
We need to let them know the dark energies will project thoughts into your mind, and you'll think they're your thoughts, but they won't be your thoughts. We've both learned that.
They'll just sound like your thoughts. But you're like going along, going like, I feel good, I love my family or whatever. I'm riding my bike, and then all of a sudden there will be this thought there going, you're really ugly, you know, or like a thought saying like, nobody likes you. That kind of thought. Or like, you're bad at everything, you know, or something like that.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I've had all those. I have a person who I met recently, Angela knows about her, who she showed up and she had I just talked to her and met her. She was in my neighborhood, and she was telling me, she mentioned she knew about twin flames, and I was like, wow. And we talked for a minute, but then I figured out pretty quickly that it was something very negative in her life, you know, negative experiences for her. And so I didn't pursue it very much, but then I saw her in the upper realms, and I was doing energy work for her up there with her higher self. And recently she asked me, she said, you know, you've been in some of my dreams. And
wow, that's amazing.
Yes, I explained everything to her. And she was telling me that when she was 4 years old, hopefully she won't mind me telling this story because I'm not giving her identity away or anything, but she was saying when she was 4 years old, she remembers she was looking in the mirror and she heard in her mind, I hate you. She, you know, like her voice saying she hated herself, right? And it scared her so bad she ran and told her mom or whatever. When she was like 4. So that shows you how early they really mess with some of the twin flames, because
exactly,
the more powerful you are, I think the more they mess with you.
And the bigger mission you have, the more they target you too.
Yeah, mine was like when I was 6, I got my brain zapped, I call it, where the ETs came in, and I saw them come in, and I saw them put their finger on my forehead, and it was an electrical zapping in my brain, and it scared me, and I cried. And they did it to my brother as well, and nobody really believed me, because why would you believe a kid when they said that, right? They're like, you just had a bad dream, da da da, you know. And then when I was doing some of the work I was doing with the healers, you know, they said they got your mom and your grandmother at young ages too. So they're very serious about the suppression of keeping spiritual people from becoming enlightened or remembering who they are. Really, it's like a reversal of remembering who you are, and then they reinforce it with the, you know, spying devices and things like that, which give you bad messages in your head to create. And the younger they can get you, the more negative grooves in your brain starts repeating it. And so then and then the more you think bad, the more low your vibration is. So the more you attract low vibration things, and the more low vibration things you attract, it's like the more you go, see, yeah, that thought I had about myself was true, because like I can't make it, you know, I can't keep money, or by the time you're an adult, you're really messed up, I think. Or like people do think I'm a bad person. And as I'm saying this, in my head, I'm saying cancel, clear, delete, because I don't want that thought going in my head anymore. But for purposes of the talk, I want to say it because it's important. Somebody else might hear it and go, yes, there's a reason why I keep thinking that thing and I don't have control over it, you know. No matter what therapy I go to, no matter what yoga I try, no matter what meditation I do, you know, like, anyway, I got off on that a little bit. I feel bad that I don't have my thoughts more formulated sometimes, but sometimes I just want to talk about something I'm thinking about. And that sort of thing. But all of that plays in, for me, I don't know about you, Angela, but for me, all of that plays into the fears I have now, like of not being loved, of being abandoned, of somebody not loving me the way I am.
Exactly. And there's a lot of this is where society, or how'd you say it, the world, I guess you could say, the outside world, has conditioned, especially women, that they have to look a certain way, they have to weigh a certain way, they got to be proportioned in certain ways to be attractive. And so we women grow up thinking we've got to be this way or that way to be accepted. And the twin flame thing has nothing to do with your physical body. Although you should be healthy, it's a soul connection and a spiritual. That's the main thing. Yeah. If you take your mind, that's how I overcome. I tell myself, okay, I'm not my skin. The real me is a spirit and soul. And so it takes that focus off the flesh. But that's not to say you let your body go. But that's
right.
To say
you still care about your vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a big thing that, and in all fairness, a lot of men suffer. I mean, a lot of men have the same worries too, as they want to look a certain way, because they want to be attractive to women or other men if they're into other men or something. But they're expected to have certain kinds of muscles, but I think men's brains are slightly different than women. They've, I think, a little bit more into primal urges. Maybe
they like it wrong.
So maybe that.
Very passionate. We're just going to say very passionate. They like women natural. And we women think we have to have makeup and all this stuff. No, they want you just like you are, natural. Primal. There you go.
I think that there's societal conditioning.
Exactly.
For men and women, I think, but women suffer from it more. I think, it's like, especially like after you have a kid or whatever, and then say like me, I had a C-section, really messed my body up. And before that, but even when I was slender and in really good shape, I was like, I don't have boobs, I don't have, I need bigger breasts or whatever, for a man to think I'm attractive. And because sometimes I would date a guy and they'd be like, I don't care. But then they would dump me and date somebody with big boobs or whatever. And then
I know that's not very nice.
Younger. But you know what? They weren't my twin flame either. And they weren't somebody who, they were somebody who I settled on for less because I didn't feel good about myself, and so they were reflecting back to me the insecurities I had about myself, really. And so it's like that thing I said before, where it's like, if you're not healed, you can't attract healed things to you.
Exactly.
I definitely wasn't healed, and I definitely attracted all the unhealed things to me. That was like everything in my mind that I thought about myself was projected outward and came back to me, basically. I had genuine feelings for those people that I dated, because I don't date people unless I have genuine feelings for them. But but
you know what you could do? Go ahead. Mention how that you were kind of hesitant before we connected, because this goes along with fear.
Yeah.
Remember, you were kind of iffy about the direct message me on Twitter, because you felt the fear and did it anyway, we're sitting here talking because you chose love instead of fear.
That's true. That's a good example, because actually, before last year, before I started Awakening, I had gotten pretty bad to the point where, my daughter's in earshot, so she can hear what I'm saying, so I'm going to be careful how I form my words. But her dad didn't treat me that nice, let's just say. And I kept going back for more, basically, because I found myself pregnant with his child, and I really wanted a family. And I said, I got to try harder than I've ever tried. And so I totally dove deep into ignoring everything I needed and wanted, and just trying to please him, and feeling bad about myself constantly because he had insecurities and he didn't want to really be with me. But he was a lot younger than me. Anyway, that's a long story, but the basic gist of it was, I let him treat me really, really bad until it was to the point where my life was in danger, or I felt my life was in danger, and my child's life. I didn't think my child's life was in that much danger, but I knew mine was, and I left, but out of fear, I stayed with him. And out of fear, I moved in with him in the first place. It was like opposite fears drove me constantly. Out of fear of being alone with a baby, I moved in with him. And out of fear of my daughter not forgiving me if I didn't try, I stayed. And out of fear of him killing me, I moved out. And
Wow.
Out of fear of him as being manipulative and dominant over me, I let him still treat me bad even after I moved out. And then finally, out of fear of losing my baby to him and him running off with her, I went to court. And I was scared to death to do that. That was like a major conflict I did not want to face. And it went on and on and on for so many years. And even when I had my baby, out of fear of, they were already mad at me because I said, I don't want this, I don't want that. And out of fear of them doing something bad to me, or, me feeling like they think I'm a bad person or whatever, I let them do all this stuff to me. And I ended up having to have a C-section because of it. And so it was all fear of everything that I consider a negative experience in my life is because I made fearful decisions, right? And so it's like, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, because I think that's a human trait that we go through.
And sometimes we run from some twins will run from their twin because they're afraid, but actually then it's yourself that you're chasing, you're running from.
I was shut down after I met my twin. I couldn't even talk, and I was shut down. And my main thinking process that was happening was, they're gonna say I'm crazy. Oh my God, I'm crazy. Oh my God, I am crazy. They're not just gonna kick me out of this place where I'm at. I was there with other people, and I did not have control of having a ride. And they're going to send me to the loony bin, and they're going to have me arrested. And it was like this thinking process of, just don't tell anyone, just don't say anything what just happened. He's just standing there looking at me with the biggest smile on his face, I don't want to talk to him. No, he's not the person I want to be my soulmate, because I thought soulmate at the time. No. But my main thinking process was, people are going to think I'm crazy. Just keep your mouth shut, And no, he'll think you're crazy. He's not saying anything. You're crazy. Like every negative thing, like, why would he like me? Like, he has a girlfriend. Like, every reason I could think of to not speak to him went through my head, of why I shouldn't speak to him went through my head. And I didn't speak to him. And can you imagine the difference if I would have gone up to him and said, what was that? Did something happen to you? Because something crazy just happened to me. he might have said, yeah, what was that? And spoke to me about it, you know? Instead, I'm just like, no, people think you're crazy. They're going to send you to the loony bin, this and that and the other, da 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 da. I did quite the number on myself emotionally, mentally. And I just had to stand there because I had no way to leave that place. And I was like in shock. I was kind of in shock. I was overwhelmed by the intensity of that happening to me. And all the downloads, all the pictures that I got in my brain as I was coming out of that scared me. I mean, I didn't know what they were, and I saw these visions of future things, and I was just like, I don't know. I didn't know how to process it. And because up to that point, I lived in a state of fear constantly of people. I lived in a state of fear of people thinking I was crazy.
Yeah, the twin flame journey will make you feel like you're going crazy, especially if, well, me and Andrea for a long time until this year, actually, there wasn't anybody that you could go to talk to about these things. But now that me and her, she can talk to me about anything she wants, and I know exactly where she's coming from, and I'm not going to judge her. I'm going to say, yeah, you know, all twin journeys, all twin flames have their own union, but it's unique. But there are similarities of twin flames in general. But it's, you'll think you're going crazy, and you try to tell your family. You know you can't tell your family because they're going to think you're crazy. But when you got somebody that's one reason me and Andrea are here for twin flames. Yeah. And you also got to be careful who you listen to. But that's up to you. You have to go judge it on your own intuition. But we're here to help you as best as we can, you know, because we walked this journey, and we're here to help. Because if we would have had the help like me and hers, getting this website, and actually Archangel Michael, for you all out there that interact with Archangel Michael basically guided us to do this, and it's been seeing it come together has been so amazing. And us sitting here talking on the phone doing a conference call is totally amazing.
Yeah.
We would have never thought we'd be sitting here talking.
That was overcoming, you know. That's overcoming a lot of fear too, getting that done, because it's really hard work. And and back to, oh my gosh, you know, how do you go like 30 years and like condense it into like a 45-minute talk? It's kind of hard, but it's kind of like, it's like so many mind trips, and they're all based on fear of what people think about me, fear of what they're going to say about me, fear of the ways I can't do it. Like even in 2002 when I found out that there was such a thing as twin flames, and I said, you know, I started looking it up because I kept still seeing his face all the time and thinking about him all the time. No matter how hard I tried, it was always there. It got to the point where I would see a figure walk behind me, and it would look like him, and I would look and there would be no one there. And I was seeing into his life for a few seconds sometimes, I think. I see him walking, and I would be like, oh my God, I still have this. And I would look them up on the internet, and then I looked up the symptoms. Everybody calls it symptoms, I'm sure. And then that's when I came across his blogs about the twin flames that I talked about in our other talks. And it's like, okay, now, I got myself there. But even getting myself there, I've got to go. I was scared. I kept talking myself out of it. And then I was like, I have to go try to be in the same room. I've got to find out what my life purpose is and stuff. That was my main thing. And I was just so scared because I was like, I know he won't like me. And I talked about that before where I didn't give him a chance. I had just decided that. I had been thinking people didn't like me since I was real young. So that wasn't too far off from all the fears I'd had from childhood. But I said, I kind of just got up my gumption and said, I've got to go. I've got to go check it out. But then when I got in that room with him, I was so overwhelmed by fear, and not fear again. He'll think I'm crazy. I am crazy. He didn't even seem to recognize me. That was before he knew about dark energies and stuff. But, and before that, I didn't tell you, but in 1997, he came into the store where I worked, and he went right past me. And I didn't know it was him, because he looked different than he did when I first met him. But he walked past me, and I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, that guy's so good looking. And it took my breath away. And then he walked past me, and I felt like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. And I was like, oh my God, that guy was so good looking that I'm about to pass out. And I ran. I got so filled with fear. I had an adrenaline attack, and I ran to the back of the store and was hyperventilating. And I was scared to go back out. And then I finally talked myself. I said, oh my God, I have to go find out who that was. I went back out to the store, and he was gone. And by the time I got up the guts to face my fear. But my immediate reaction was fear, overdose, adrenaline attack, run. And I ran to the back of the store and hyperventilated. And then like a week later, I saw his picture, and I said, oh my God, that was him. That was the guy from 1988. And I said, God, whew, I'm glad I dodged that, like, my ego was so happy that I dodged that fear. Whew, I got away, like I remember when I saw him that time, my first thought was, there was a thought in my head. It wasn't my thought, but a thought came through my head, and it said, oh shit, he found us. I remember thought very clearly going through my head. And then that's when I was like, man, that guy is so gorgeous, good looking. And then he went past me, and I was like, no breath, no. And then run. And I'm pretty sure that was dark energies messing with me too. I'm pretty sure that thought, oh shit, he found us, was not me. And it was the dark energies going, oh shit, he found
Yeah, and this is another point. We can't say, when you have twin flames that are in public eye, that's all I'm going to say. It makes it even worse when you see on social media, you see them with somebody else, and all kinds of thoughts go through your mind, and but anyway, it makes it more difficult. And there'll probably be more twin flames that will be in this same situation where, somebody's hard to reach, or well, of course the divine will bring you together. It will happen. Yeah. But it makes your insecurities even bigger, because you're thinking you start comparing yourself to all these celebrities or whatever, and they're this way and they're that way, and you're like, oh my gosh, is he going to accept me? Is he even going to acknowledge me because I'm not famous, but he is? But it's not about being famous. It's about the soul. The divine doesn't care what your title is. It's about the spirit and the soul.
Well, and the funny thing is, that time I didn't even know that was him, because he looked different. He like had his hair color was different color, and it still scared the what out of me. And I didn't even know that it was him, the quote unquote famous person, right? And he was with a really good looking woman again, right? So the first time I met him, he was with the first time I saw him, he was with a good looking woman. The first time I met him, he was with that same good looking woman. And then when I saw him that time, he was with a really good looking woman. And so, but at that point, I was like, yeah, I don't want to be found, woohoo, and I'm freedom. No, I was And the bad thing, not bad, the funny thing about that moment in time is I looked the best I've ever looked at that moment in time and felt the best I've ever felt at that moment in time. I was 30 years old. I felt great. And I used to always tell my mom when I was younger that, yeah, but I'm going to get married and have kids by the time I'm 33 or something. Like that was the plan all along or something, you know. I used to always say 33. I had no idea why, but I always wonder, like, I wonder if I would have had the guts to stand there. He would have had to walk past me again because the area I worked in, that store was right by the doors, the entrance and exit doors. So if I would have had the guts to stand there and be like, I want to look at that good-looking guy again, you know, or whatever, he would have had to see me on his way back out. Like if I went or ran off. And I always wondered, like, I wonder what would have happened because he wasn't single then, but I don't think he was with his wife then. And I looked really good then, and I was really happy then. But apparently I was a little too happy single because I remember I was like, phew, I got away from him again. That sounds terrible, and I don't mean it that way, but that's the state of mind I was in, honestly, then. Is like, I really was like, I want freedom. Freedom is the most important thing to me. I really thought that. And I had no thought of like, I'm a twin flame, and I long to be with my twin. But honestly, in the back of my mind, I always did think, I know I have a soulmate. I wish I could find him. Like, duh, you know. I always tell Angela that the angels are probably up there, like, doing face palm every time I screwed up. The face palm, you know what I'm talking about? Palm to the face. Palm to the face. Going,
yeah, like,
oh, we keep trying to help you. You keep screwing it up. We keep trying to get you together with the guy. You keep rejecting him. You know? You keep running off. Face palm.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, like, didn't you tell me that there was one time you had a chance to go where your twin might have been and that you chose not to? And I mean, you had extenuating circumstances, and then you had telepathic communication with him where it kind of hurt his feelings, or I don't know.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Hold on.
Yeah.
She's talking about, I lost my husband. My husband passed away at 15 years in January of 2014. And I had two best friends on Facebook who hadn't met them physically yet. But, of course, I had a little bit of money, not a lot. But looking back, I wish I would have went. But it was something that they had planned. They had planned a trip to go to, and I can't say who the person is. But anyway,
right.
Because it would give something away, and I can't do that. Anyway, they wanted to go somewhere, and I'm not a person that will intrude and just invite myself. So I remember one of my friends said, "Well, you can go with us if you want to." And hear me, of course. And looking back, I'm like, you know what? It really wasn't it might have been my soul, but it really probably wasn't the time for us to meet. But I could say right now we would still be together. But it made him. He told me I never knew this. You know, because in my state of mind, my husband passed away, and I wasn't thinking about rejecting my twin or anything. But he felt rejected because I didn't come to where he was, and I had this idea in my head. I had to have all this kind of a certain amount of money. Now looking back, I know better because I could have rode the bus, but back then I didn't even think about that. I was going by what other people told me. It's going to cost you this. It's going to cost you that. And now I wish I would have went, you know, because I missed an opportunity. But then it was good that we did meet, but I regret not meeting him at the same time, and I had to. That was about the only thing that he's always asking me to forgive him and everything. Of course, I forgive him because I love him, and but it really hurt me because it hurt me that I hurt him, because I didn't realize that he felt rejected because I did have the means to get there. So
Yeah.
I wish I would have. I don't know. Sometimes it's not the right time, but then then you miss an opportunity. Like, what would have happened if I would have went? Things would probably maybe be completely different. I guarantee you, I would not want to leave his side. That's for sure, because I love him so much.
Yeah, I think about that. I go, what if I would have stand there and he saw me? I know he would have been like, I know something would have happened then, because it had not been that long since I met him the first time. And, well, I guess to me, it hadn't been that long. But I would have been a hot mess in that relationship if that would have happened, if a relationship would have come of it, or of any kind, because there were so many things I didn't understand and so many things I hadn't worked out as a person, as a spiritual person, and so many experiences that I hadn't had yet that forced me to let go of my ego stuff. I had a pretty big ego, so but I kind of had to, because I had to survive, and I was kind of on my own in a way, and I had to survive for myself. But I think it would have been hot and awesome and heartbreaking and a hot mess, and but it would have been much better than the fear state that I stayed in, and which caused me to have a lot of more horrible experiences, I feel. And I think we would have figured it out together, figured out together that we were supposed to be together. Though he probably would have had to work on me a lot, because I was still in running stage of running away from myself and running away from anything that scared the heck out of me. But yeah, that part's pretty interesting anyway. Now, you can go back. I had this thought the other day, like, well, you can't change the past, but you can change how you feel about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's really the only thing you can change about the past is how you feel about it. Because there's just so many things that I constantly is like beating myself up over, going, I regret this, I regret that. Man, why didn't I do it this way? Wish what would have happened if I did that, or whatever. I could have had hot sex with my twin when I was younger.
Oh my God. I know you didn't, Andrea.
We're going there, but
that's okay. It's all right. That's part of that's one of the blessings, and you got pros and cons.
Think about, because
they're so beautiful, and you desire them on a spiritual level, that there's just like, you almost feel like people will probably I still can't say it, but some people they'll say. You got some people that think, when they're thinking about a twin flame, that because we're so crazy about our twin flame, but it's not crazy. It's not. You can't really understand the pull to your twin unless you are a twin.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot. You are always connected at the heart level on a higher level, so that connection's there.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think about all the ways that I would probably have been healthier as a person if I would have gone with like seeing the magic in life instead of seeing the magic as fearful things, like when that was presented to me. Sorry, I'm congested, I apologize. The first time it's like, oh my God, scared. And like, I had never even been with a man the first time I met him, because I was really young. But instead of being scared, if I would have viewed it mentally as, wow, something cool just happened to me. Let me find out what that cool thing is about, instead of being like, run. There's so much bright light coming at me, and I burst into a bright light instead of going, wow, somebody made me burst into a bright light. Wow, this must be special. Instead of thinking like, somebody made me burst into a bright light, they're trying to kill me, or something.
Yeah.
But that's what the negative thinking and the dark energies do to you. And then societal conditioning also plays havoc on you, which some people might, would say that negative energies are the ones that cause the societal thinking that suppresses everyone, or just the fears we have around love, the most unfearful thing around. All we think about all the time is losing the love, or not getting enough love, or somebody not loving us, or
Or afraid that you're not going to meet your twin, or they may not show up, or they'll run, or there's all kinds of possibilities that go through your head.
They're probably legitimate fears, but when you think about it, like, the gamble is worth it. Just think how many times we gamble every day, just getting in our car, or just like, you just feel confident that you're going to make it to your destination, right? I mean, because you go, I'm a good driver, I'm in this vehicle, and you feel certain that you're going to have your job next week and you're going to get paid if you have a job. And, I mean, not always. Sometimes you feel fearful that you won't have your job and your job's miserable because of that. I've certainly been there before. I've made myself so miserable with just my thinking, constant thinking of fear, thinking of every fearful thing, all with the goal of trying to avoid something that's uncomfortable or painful. It's like, you might lose that thing, so better to not have it at all. I've heard so many people say that so many times, when talking about human psychology and that sort of thing. That
a lot of men feel that way too. They're afraid of losing their women. Well,
people
I'm afraid I'm gonna lose you or something.
People feel that. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It's like, or a fear of being alone. Some people have an extreme fear of being alone, and people like me, I had a fear of getting something that I loved and losing it. So better to just stay away from it, or something destroying me. And,
you just didn't want to get hurt. You didn't want to get hurt. You didn't want to get abused. So you were just protecting yourself, basically. Although it was fear in the background, feeling it.
Yeah. And then later, when you become having a more ascended type of thinking, you go, what was I really afraid of? And it's like, oh yeah, I can psychologically figure out that I was afraid of being hurt or being abandoned, that I was going to have something that was going to be too good. It wasn't going to meet my expectations, or whatever the fear is that you think of, the reasons you think of not to do something. Oh, it's going to be too good. Oh, it's not going to be good as I hope it will be. Oh, it's going to kill me. That's the extreme version of it.
There's going to be times when you get so bombarded with fear, you get overwhelmed. You're like, should I keep going on this twin flame journey? That's why there's a lot of twin flame support now, because there's going to be a lot of new twin flames coming in. They're going to have questions. They're going to want to know this or that. And since there are twin flames out there that have been on the path for a while, we can help them, and actually could speed their in some instances we could speed their unions up, because we have so much knowledge that we can share with them. We can tell them about purging. That'll be another show. Triggers, layers and layers of stuff you have to release and heal. It's a lot of healing and releasing. Counselor Clear Elite, like me and Andrea say, you can call them the angels. You can do other things, energy healing, things like that.
Well, in this stage of where we're at, we can definitely help people shorten the duration of all these cycles that you go through at a beginning stage,
Right.
that get, it's like once they need help with actually after being in union, if we're at that stage, then we'll be probably very skilled at helping them at that stage as well. But right now, there's quite a few twin flame couples that are already in union who, like Mel and Nicole from Gold Ray Twin Flames, or Jill and Ramey from Twin Flame Healers. They're twin flame couples, or Lee and Sherry from Relationship Reinvented. Like, there's some good sources for people who are already in union and they're having like relationship difficulties within their union. And it's important to go to people who've had the experience already. But where we have experience is all the trials and tribulations of getting through all of the mental trips and the fears and the anxieties and working out, how to get to that place, the steps taking. We're just answering questions of how we did it, or what we figured out didn't work. Basically, would eliminate so many problems for people.
And me and Andrea being twin flames, we even mirror stuff back. When I stayed with her, she would tell me things, and I would tell her things like, I'm psychic and I can channel and everything like that. She's psychic too, but I would tell, things would just come out of me. It would be a message. It wasn't me thinking of it. Like sometimes you have to do some inner child healing, and like she was telling me, I've been bad here lately. I'm okay now, but I feel like I've been in therapy with her, and anyway, she kept saying, she'd ask me some, and I would change the subject or something, and I was deflecting. I wasn't getting to the root of what was triggering me. Why was I doing this and why was I not doing that? And finally, I got to the root of the problem, and I started crying because I had gotten hurt by another twin flame that hurt me, and I'm not going into any details. It doesn't matter. But, there will be times when you will get hurt by other twins, and they're probably not doing it, depending on what stage, how mature they are. They may do things not meaning to. But anyway, try not to judge other twin flames, because we're all supposed to be in this together, working together, not against each other. And that's what the dark energies want us to do. They don't want us to come together, because when twin flames come together, they're so powerful. We're here to anchor love in the earth.
They don't. They want to. They want to wedge.
Well, they fight everything they can. And we got a little wisdom here.
The important thing too is to look at, like, say that I had to work on Angela quite a bit about that one subject, about the deflecting subject. Because
I'm okay with it now. I healed from that thing. Thank you, sister.
She had to tell me, like, for like 3 days, it was maybe 2 or 3 days in a row. She said, I would say I was having a problem with something that was coming up for me in regards to my twin flame. And she would say, I keep seeing inner child work. I keep seeing the words inner child work. And I would just be like, da-da-da-da-da, blah, blah, blah. I was doing the deflecting, talking about everything else besides that. And, this happened, getting caught in the story of why it happened. And that's what your ego does to you, right? So your ego goes, let's talk about the story around it. And then you'll never solve the problem. See, because it's like, the problem is your feelings were hurt. And why were your feelings hurt? You got to dig deeper.
Because you love,
Not
another thing,
that. What issue is that caused your feelings to be hurt? And what fear do you have way down deep inside somewhere that maybe started when you were a baby even? That's why I was telling people.
You may not. This was the thing that, Andrea, she keeps on driving at me. She's like, I tell her, we're just like family. She just tells me, like, just like, like, if we were blood sisters. She kept, at the time, I kept thinking, what is she talking about? I couldn't see what she was talking about until the next day. The next day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did have anxiety, but it was about a different subject. But the anxiety was there, but I couldn't consciously see it. But she was mirroring it back to me, or she was picking it up intuitively that I was not dealing with it. But after the fact, I've learned. So, but me and her have been on an accelerated rate. I'm telling you, we've been like, Whoa.
Well, and I had fear about
Disclaimer.
telling you. I had fear
Whoa.
about telling you about it because when you were here, I kept telling you about. I would channel something to tell you about, and I finally decided that it went through me because I needed to hear it too, right? And
Yeah.
that is like I kept telling you this and telling you that and telling you, and I was like, and I have this thing from childhood where I didn't want anyone to ever hate me, so the thing where I would not say stuff to them when I knew stuff. I chose not to say stuff because I wanted them to love me. That fear. And so even into adulthood now, even though I'm better at speaking my truth now, I kept getting stuff about Angela needs to work on this deflecting. And I didn't tell her at first because of that thing that I have, the fear that I have about somebody not loving me, losing a friendship, because I've lost friendships before of people not wanting to hear me, from their perspective, bossing them around, right?
Yeah, she's a very powerful Taurus.
It took me like 3 days to finally be straight with her and say, look, please don't get mad at me for telling you this, but I really this has come up again. This is the third time. And I'm supposed to tell you. And I said, please don't hate me. I said, please don't hate me.
You don't give up.
I didn't give up. She kept deflecting me too.
But I wasn't seeing it. You could see something that I couldn't see, and I could see something in her that she couldn't see. Although we're not twin flame couples, we're twin flame sisters, we're mirroring back and forth, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah, and that shows you
how too many people say that. Have you, with other like twin flame friends, or you always hear about the couples, but actually twin flames, if you're a twin flame, although you're not in a twin flame relationship with someone, like we're friends, we mirror stuff back and forth, and we heal each other, and it's just awesome to have somebody to talk to, somewhere to go. If we would have had this, I probably would already be in you. Possibly.
Well, maybe we all would. I don't know.
But they said it doesn't happen until it's supposed to happen, so I don't know.
I think it took me a long time to overcome all of my fears. And I don't think that I think I mostly finally realized most of them aren't mine. They're just made up stories that aren't even real. And I think that it took me a long time to not react to them. And I still react in fear. I'm not saying I don't, because I still get afraid. I'm scared to death to meet my twin again in person. I mean, he talks to me through you, and he talks to me telepathically, but I think that's the reason that Divine did it this way for me personally, is so that I could ease into it, because I'm a Taurus and I'm not good at being surprised with things.
You just get strong. Let's just say you're strong. You know what a Taurus is, a symbol, and I'm just going to let it go there. I mean,
kidding. Given the way I reacted to altogether, I've been in the same room with my twin 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Wow.
I've been in his presence 4 times. And given the way I reacted those 4 times, I think the Divine knew this is a better way to do this for me, to ensure that I don't blow a gasket again. Because I do still, up until this year, had lots and lots of fears to contend with and to work around. And it came out of me as anger more in the more recent years and isolating myself away from everyone. And that's the part I was going to come back around to talk about how I contacted Angela.
Right.
And so, okay. Sorry, it's my daughter. Anyway, I had isolated myself, and then I just hold on just a second. I'm really sorry. Hold on a second.
Isabel, let the recording stinker. I'm sorry, Mommy. Just turn the light on. It's a light switch. Put it without your finger. Fine.
Sorry about that, Angela. I had
That's
to
okay.
do mommy duty for a second. There's a light that's turned off and somebody's afraid of the dark. Speaking of fears,
Uh-huh.
we have to work on that fear with her. It's like all the lights are on in the hallway. The light in the bedroom next to the bathroom is on. And she's like, I need you to turn the light on in the bathroom. It's dark in there. I laugh about it now, but when I was a kid, I was probably just as afraid of, you know.
Mhm.
And I told her, you can see right in there. You just flip the switch. Like,
Exactly.
so now I laugh about it, but I was probably scared to death when I was her age. But anyway, I was trying to talk about when I was going to contact you. I had been isolated and I had got to a point financially where I was like, I really need a roommate. I can't really pay my bills very well. I'm struggling and all this stuff. And I was scared to death to let somebody in my house. That's how bad I had become. And I was just like, what if I don't get along with them? What if they mess with my stuff? What if they, I mean, I had all these mental trips going on. And I had been just staying away from everyone because my daughter's dad, he had a lot of friends and they all would talk and tell him stuff I was doing if they were around, or in my mind, that's how it was going to happen. And I said, you know, I got to let some other people in my life. It's been 7 years or whatever, 8 years. And I got to start letting some other people in my life. I don't want to sit here and be lonely and die. And well, luckily last year I had ascension symptoms. And then my twin woke me up and it was like the veil that was over my brain had been lifted and showed me all the wrong ways I'd been thinking and all the wrong ways I'd been living that were making me miserable, and that where I was just giving up, basically. I had given up. I'd said, I'll probably just have an unhappy job. I'll just be a mom. I'll just sit here overweight and not caring about myself, you know. And I don't care. I cancel Claire to leave that because I do care. But at the time, I had been in that mental state for a while after battling court and battling her dad when she was younger and worrying so much about her and thinking that I couldn't trust anyone ever again. And then after I woke up and I started doing all these self-help videos, and the veil started like lifting off of my mind, and I said, oh my gosh, you know what? It's better to have relationships with people. It's better to have love. Like sitting here by yourself really sucks, you know? And I was like, I don't want to be lonely anymore. And all these things. And I started being more active. When I lost my job, I started being more active on social media because I had made a website for myself. Losing my job was part of me getting the veil lifted off of my brain as well, because the job I had was I call it the prison job. I stayed there out of fear. It was about money, and it wasn't even that good of money. I was just good at the job I did there, and it was easy to stay there because I had a kid, and they let me off when I needed to be off and stuff. But anyway, I saw Angela's. I started listening to these twin flames, and one of them had a Twitter page, and I was on there reading the little blog thing post that the guy made, and I saw Angela make a comment, and I was like, oh, she looks cool, and I clicked on her Twitter page, and I said, oh my gosh, the pictures on her Twitter page reminded me of something, a story I'd heard in California about a lady who she had a connection with this guy, and she moved all the way to California to be near him. I said, I bet that's her. But she's that lady I heard that story about. And I wanted to ask her so bad. And I was like, no, she'll think I'm crazy. That whole thing I had still, even at my age, all these years later, no. And I started to message her a couple of times and I didn't. And then a couple of days later, I said, God, I want to ask that lady if she's that lady. So I said, screw it. I'm doing it. I direct messaged
And I'm glad she did.
and I
It was
said,
a direct-
did you ever live in California? And I knew a lady that met this lady that, and I said, and I sent it. I had sent, and I wanted to erase it because I thought she'll just think I'm nutters. And I was like, oh, who cares? I finally was like, who cares? I just don't care anymore if somebody thinks I'm crazy, you know. And then, so then I waited. I said, what's she going to say? Is it that lady? It's just like that. And I said, I bet that's her twin flame and stuff. And I already knew it was. I always used to do that to myself and be like, I bet this and that. But then she actually responded back to me, and we got a conversation going. And then it was just like my whole world opened up. But I had been on Twitter. I'd been on social media quite a bit before that, and that was my main social interactivity with people. I know that sounds really sad, but I was working a lot and a single mom and not feeling too good about myself because I'd gained a bunch of weight because of my C-section and stuff. And my body got a little bit damaged from that. And I had got an injury, and that gained me a bunch of weight. But I got most of my enjoyment like reading people's funny posts and stuff. And then I had made that website, made a Twitter page so that I could start doing my artwork on social media, posting it on social media. I had started doing my artwork again before my ascension and stuff. And anyway, that's my... Boy, I dominated that whole conversation. I'm really sorry, Angela.
So this is one thing that was really neat about it. You know, and when we connected, it was like high level energy connection. I mean, I said it was a very, very. I mean, from the very beginning, it was a powerful, energetic connection. However you say it. I mean, it was like magnetic. I mean, it was like me and her would start talking, and then I tell her. It literally felt like I was experiencing an earthquake energetically on the inside of me. Like it was okay. This is what it was like. It was like an activation. That's exactly what it was. It was an activation in both of us. And from that day on, my twin flame connection was better with my twin, and it just went from there. Because she chose to take a step of faith and not give in to fear, or we wouldn't be sitting here talking right now if she would have gave in to fear. So pat yourself on the back, build your heart, and I'm glad you did.
I've come so far since last year. I even forgot about that. I started school in last October because I had gotten out of the job, doing graphic design and photo editing and stuff, and sitting in front of the computer. For 13 years, I've been sitting in front of the computer, which led to my bottom spread, we'll say. It's hard to stay in shape when you're sitting in front of the computer for like 8 hours. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say.
And when you live in the South, it's hard to not gain weight from all the good food. Let me tell you, Oklahoma City, there's a shout out. Y'all got some good food.
We do have some good food here. And also, it was just like that C-section did me in for a long time. It really messed my body up. And then sitting all day was very bad for me. And I knew it was. I was like, I feel so bad. If it wasn't for listening to music all day, I wouldn't have made it at that job for so long.
Wow.
Even now, I can listen to stuff all day with my headphones. If it wasn't for music, no, I would have not made it at that job, sitting there still for that many hours doing designs and stuff. But
right.
Yeah. But so then I have always had like this thing with my hands, with the heat and the chakras in my hands, like doing healing work on people. And when I was younger, when I lived at the Yoga Institute, right after I met my twin flame, I moved to Yoga Institute because I was trying not to be crazy, trying to figure out ways not to be crazy, to feel crazy. Let me reword that. I had taken shiatsu massage there course, and I got to the part where I had to do the book work, where it was like the anatomy and all that, and I gave up because I didn't believe in myself that I was smart enough to complete that part of it. I had trouble concentrating a lot. And so I quit, but I still taught yoga, which is more, I didn't get my teacher certification because of the book work part too, the reading. I'm like have a weird thing reading. It's not a disability. It's just that I read differently than other people. And so anyway, I kept thinking I really should. I called this massage school like 5 different times throughout the past 10 years. They'd been in business for 30 years. And then I kept just thinking of reasons I couldn't do it right. And I can't do it, this and that. And I can't do it. And then I had a kid. And it was like, I can't do it, I'm a mom. And so finally it came up again, and I was just like, I would really like to do healing work on people by touching them with my hands. And so I decided to go to this massage school, and I started school even though I was working full-time, and I'm still a single mom. And I was scared to do it, and I was scared to get in debt doing it and everything, but I did it anyway. I started that, and my life has totally, completely changed since then. And now I'm like, talking to people on social media that I don't know and become friends with them, It's like that was so unlike me. And I'm, considering moving, and it's just, I still haven't got a roommate, but that's mostly because I was so busy with school and everything, and my house is filled with stuff, my school stuff.
Another interesting thing that happened, because it's kind of like the divine state giving us a validation on what working on this website, and she's done a lot of work, and really it's ingenious how she came up with the symbol. She took my zodiac sign, her zodiac sign, put it together, it looks like the third eye.
Yeah, it's totally cool.
But this is what happened.
I was like,
cool. While I was there, she kept thinking, okay, I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. She's so stressed out. She went to go to school one night, and the school was shut down permanently. And I said, I felt like celebrating. I don't even know why.
Everybody wanted to celebrate, and I was like, should I be happy? Is it weird that I'm happy that they closed their doors like after 30 years?
It was just a sign to me that what we're doing, the divine was like saying, thumbs up. We're giving you more time so you can work on something else. Totally. She had no idea that was going to happen either.
No, I just showed up, and they were like, they closed the doors today.
Oh,
no one knew it was happening. But I had a feeling like they were like, look, you needed more time to work on more important stuff, and you got the information you needed to know to get where you need to go. And like I only had 18 weeks left and to graduate.
Wow.
I was slightly bummed out about that part, but now it looks like I may possibly get my school loans forgiven. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah, if I can get the paperwork turned in. So, yeah, it's like all of these fears and all these things. Like, can you imagine? Like, I called about going to that school 5 different times, and then I went, and then the school closed down. It's just kind of funny in a weird, twisted way.
Yeah.
In a funny, sort of angelic way.
Oh Lord, yeah.
But even Angela, like, I know this is getting long, but she had never really traveled anywhere. And she, the car she had to sell, I can't talk, I apologize. The car she had to sell to come visit me even was her husband's car, or the husband that passed away. That was his car, and it was very challenging thing for her to sell it and then come to me, somebody she'd only known from Twitter for several months, and because the angels guided her to do it, and well, when we were chatting on direct messaging on Twitter, I had mentioned to her, look, if I can, I'll go to California with you, you know, because she wants to relocate there. And then all of a sudden she's like, I'm getting these messages, I need to come there. And then I was getting those messages that she needed to come to me. And she sold her car and got on the bus. And she I think, almost lost her mind a couple of times doing it. It was a big step for her to all of a sudden be like, oh, what? You want me to sell my car and go to Oklahoma to this lady I've just met?
Yeah.
I mean, think about what you did. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. Looking back, it is.
You overcame a lot of
I
fear.
traveled by myself, and traveling by myself, and my daughters, oh my gosh, fear of this, fear of that.
They had a lot of
Yeah,
fear.
worry about me. I traveled by Greyhound because it's a lot cheaper, but it wears your body out, but it's still a whole lot cheaper. So anybody out there that needs to relocate, you ain't got much money, take the bus.
Yeah, I mean, somebody else drives. It's pretty.
It might take a little longer to get there, but you'll have a whole lot more money when you get there too.
Yeah.
If you got any money. That's one of my blocks too. Fear and well, it's probably not now, but I've been doing some meditation, and sometimes fears could even block our finances coming to us.
Oh yeah, most of the time they do. Is what I think. Or, you know, a lot of times I get myself in fear-based thinking about handling my stress of my bills and stuff, and then I end up screwing up on them. And most of it, the screw up was because I got myself so stressed out that I missed something, or I didn't read something right, or it had nothing to do with my ability to pay the bills or take care of them. It had everything to do with me getting myself in such a state that I created the mess with my own thinking, my own stress. So it's pretty wacky, I guess.
Boy, we've been talking for a while. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
122 minutes.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
that's what it says.
This is
Nature's
too long.
calling me, Andrea.
This is
I
too
gotta go see John about a
long.
horse.
You're gonna go see John about a horse? What?
I gotta go visit what my husband that passed away, he used to say, the porcelain god.
For those of you who don't live in the South, that's Southern humor for you.
And you know what? We're Southern women. We rock, let me tell you. We're fun to be around, and we just take life as it comes.
Oh my gosh.
Enjoy life.
I guess
And
we'll
don't be afraid.
end it on that bit of too much information.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I never.
Well, I never. How dare you speak that way in front of me? I'm a Southern lady. Okay. Well, cool. Hopefully some people, I mean, we didn't have any definitive conclusions about what everyone should do, because there is no answer for everyone to do everything the same way. But hopefully us talking about it, somebody will get something out of it, some enjoyment or interest, or get some ideas about ways that they maybe didn't think about how they think. And I'll let you go so that you can go take care of your business.
Well, this is Angela Trout from Knoxville, Tennessee, signing out. Peace out.
Andrea from Oklahoma City. Yeah, peace out, brothers and sisters.
Love you, sister.
Take
Good
care.
to talk to
I love
you.
you. All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.